In ancient Japanese mythology, as told in many tomes and texts, through many stories, through multiple translations, there was a horrible beast known as Yamata no Orochi, which loosely translates to 8-branched giant snake or 8-forked serpent. This legendary beast had 8 heads and 8 tails. Its length extended over 8 valleys and 8 hills. Its body had coverings of moss and shrubbery in place of fur, and on each of its heads, 2 penetrating, burning eyes of winter cherry. Yamata no Orochi, or simply Orochi, was a frequent visitor to the riverbed of the High River in the peaceful province of Itsumo. There the townspeople wept and cowered, for the Orochi ruled over them through fear, demanding a blood tribute at the turn of the calendar. For the Orochi had a particular affinity to the taste of the unconsummated lady. Virgin flesh was considered a delicacy to the 8-headed serpent, and every year for 7 years the earth deity's foot-stroking elder and hand-stroking elder would have to offer one of their daughters as sacrifice. It was on the 8th year when the earth deities would encounter the brave warrior Susanoo, otherwise known as his swift, impetuous male Augustness, taking residence in Torikami, adjacent to the River High. It was said that he was expelled from heaven as a result of scoundrelly behavior, but he certainly did not let the elders know that. The elders were tormented to reluctantly offer their 8th daughter, Kushinada, or Wondrous Rice Field Princess, to the Orochi as sacrifice, when Susanoo intervened and devised a plan. He would rid them of their tormentor, provided that he would receive the young Princess Kushinada in the beast's stead. In reverence, the elders offered the young woman to him, and he used his magic to transform her body into a closed-toothed comb so she would remain safe, binded in his hair. Outside the Orochi's lair, they placed 8 giant vats, each filled with their finest distilled liquor, and waited for the infernal beast to emerge. All according to plan, the creature smelled the liquor, and at once dipped a head into each vat, imbibing the liquor and falling asleep from intoxication. Susanoo, so it was said, felled the dreaded beast in its stupor, as proof, presenting a grand sword said to have been retrieved from the creature's flesh, the aptly named Kusanagi no Tsurugi, herb quilling, or grass-cutting great sword. The land of Itsumo was finally at peace, and at long last, all was well. Many of the ancient texts would say that the story ended here, but there are those that would reveal that the Orochi had survived this ordeal. Who can say how? Possibly it tapped a vein deep beneath the Earth's crust, but the creature was able to migrate to the faraway land of Ryugenzawa, where it sought refuge in the darkness of an underwater cave. For many long years it lay dormant, rebuilding its strength after its last encounter. The magical moss which spawns on the underbelly of the Orochi transformed the waters of Ryugenzawa into a powerful elixir, which would come to be known as the Water of Life. Through an underground tributary system, the Water of Life travels from its source, bubbling to the surface in various springs littered about the surface of Ryugenzawa, and it is sought out by the villagers for its wonders. It can make even the most spoiled food taste fresh and new. It can heal an aching body and cure all sickness. It can bring life anew to a man on his deathbed. Of course, the blessings of this water are not without their setbacks. The animals of Ryugenzawa, which partake in the Water of Life, endure the side effect of abnormal growth. Exotic creatures of the wild, so large to eclipse the sun, the only thing to rival their enormity is their fierceness. This barbaric armada is territorial and will unleash its fury on any outsiders. And the Water of Life, as a result, remains an undiscovered treasure of the world. Deep in Ryugenzawa's unfathomable depths, the Orochi lays in hibernation, choosing not to feed, choosing not to attack. But mankind is inherently greedy. There are those who would bypass the Water of Life entirely, those who crave the life-giving moss which grows upon the Orochi. What fools ye mortals be, to deliberately provoke and awaken the slumbering beast.
Behold, it is risen. It is a roaring, screaming, massive abomination which thirsts for blood and begs not be provoked. Each of its serpentine heads extends off a neck that reaches higher than the clouds themselves, and its sheer immensity is such that it is unrecordable. But do not be fooled by its astounding girth, for it holds no bearing on the Orochi's speed. Its razor-sheened jaws snap with the suddenness of the cobra and the destructive power of a falling tree. Even after all these years, it still adapts its personal mantra to devour only female victims. But that does not mean that it refrains from slaying male victims as well. With red-hot, burning breath that could melt steel, the Orochi can turn all opposition to charred remnants. Once in the clutches of this cunning, methodical beast, it is a hopeless situation for his prey. The Orochi likes to toy with those he feeds on, immobilizing them with its tortuous forked tongue, and then dragging them down into the depths, where the tremendous pressure and lack of oxygen deliver a painful, agonizing death to the prey. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, the Orochi is the most powerful thing you have ever faced. And to be so selfish to partake in the life-giving moss upon its unending frame, one must be fortunate to find it. To search the monster's body, itself the size of a small city, while fending off bone-crunching onslaughts that would rattle God himself. What could a mere human do? Perhaps they could wear costumes to fool the Orochi. Perhaps they could somehow implement the Orochi's only natural enemy, the horned mongoose. Hey, go ahead, try if you must, but chances are, in the end, you'll end up an hors d'oeuvre. Not that I believe in the whole darn thing, mind you. This has been a Ranma 1/2 character profile.